Welcome back to another episode of Generation Red, the kettle corn of Herd at Sports podcast, where we try to be sweet, but at times we get salty. I am one of your hosts, Ken.
I am Coach BA.
It's Justin.
All righty, we're hanging out tonight. We're going to talk about USC. We're going to talk about all the fallout from that game, including the season-ending injury to Dylan Raiola and what that means for the future prospects at the quarterback position going into UCLA next week, with TJ Lateef taking the reins for the first time this season as a true freshman. We'll take a look at the UCLA game. What are Nebraska's chances to win that game? All that fun stuff. But first, we'll talk about a little bit about USC. But before we get to the game, guys, how's the week been besides having to watch that craziness on Saturday night? How's things been going?
Quiet Monday yesterday in Husker football. Quiet Monday.
Just very quiet.
Nothing happened.
Not much. You're probably going to have to inform me on some of it. I mean, I caught a little bit of Rules press conference. I caught a little bit of some sound bites here and there of that. But, I've kind of purposely decided not to really dive too deep because, quite frankly, I'm tired of hearing the same shit different week. So I'm just kind of like, all right, get me to the next game and we'll see if things change. So that's just where I am at today. So excuse my French, folks. I started off right away dropping an S-bomb. Awesome. So, Coach, you've wrapped up your football season, right? So things are a little bit calmed down for you. Are you still going to the school every day to teach and do things like that?
It's still making the journey. It's been slower this week because I've been today had to go. My daughter cracked her kneecap, right?
Yes, I remember that.
So we take her to Children's Mercy this morning and get a cat. I've spent a lot of time at Children's Mercy over the last week.
Yeah.
So been a little, it's been a busy, it was a busy Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So after our game wrapped up on Friday, me and one of my assistant coaches, we drove up to Lincoln and, stayed up there for the weekend so we could go to the game on Saturday. So shout out Coach Miles. I think he has officially, converted to a Husker fan. So I think I did my job. He said going into the game that his Twitter feed was already all Husker stuff. So he's like, I'm pretty much just a Husker fan at this point. And then getting to experience the game, getting to experience the tailgate, it was a really cool deal. So I think we got a Husker fan out of it. But very busy weekend. And then, just going back to dad mode today of taking my daughter to Children's Mercy to get a new cast. It's blue with the purple stripe. I didn't even know you could do that, but they striped this cast up for us.
That's kind of cool. That's Coach Miles. Is he one of your assistants then, or is that just another coach you know?
No, he coaches wide receivers and D-backs for me, and he's my special teams coordinator.
Okay.
So really good dude, young coach like me, and we've clicked really well. I mean, obviously I've seen the dude pretty much every day since about June 2nd. So we click really well. He's one of my good buddies now. And so we were talking about going to some football games once our season got wrapped up. And I said, hey, let's do it literally as soon as our season ends. Let's go to this USC game because it's going to be a blackout. So it worked out pretty good.
For sure. Other than the game, than the result of the game.
Hey, I will say for a half, it was it was amazing. It was amazing for half.
You know what? That is a good point because we get toward the end of the second half. We go on that drive at the end of the second half. We go up 14-6. I thought, hot dang, this is the thing Justin's been talking about and other people have been talking about. Yeah, the middle eight, right? The last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. And you think, all right, here we go. We're going to have a first, and then we come out in the second half. And what do we do? Throw a deep one down the sideline? Nothing. Run, punt. And I'm like,
yeah,
for crying out loud, can we not figure out how to get in our own way? It just was so.
All the people around me, Coach Miles and I, he was obviously sitting right next to me. We were all just talking like at halftime. We're like, how big it'll be to get points coming out of half. Like we were all talking about it. Like this is the stuff Rule preaches. You score right before half, you get the ball, you go score. I mean, we were talking about it the whole time, and then to go 3 and out felt very deflating. At least for all the people around me, it felt like as soon as we went 3 and out, it was just very deflating.
Justin,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. I was people didn't like necessarily what I had to say when I was talking about kind of everything that was being set up by, the offense in that game. But it did get flipped on his head. As soon as TJ Lateef comes in there, you get a different style of quarterback. Like, you're setting up different motions and different things, the end arounds to Jacory and stuff like that with that motion out. Like, we were setting up a lot of stuff that just we weren't able to utilize late in that game. And then when you get a guy like TJ Lateef in there, you then got to transition over to the high percentage plays that you see him make in practice. And right now, those are probably low risk plays. And so it's one of those things that just we were handicapped at that point because USC knew exactly that. They knew that we were going to have to come in there and try to have an oversimplified game plan, and they could kind of pin their ears back a little bit. And then offensively, Lincoln Riley was doing a really good job of mixing things up. As soon as they started having success with the run over the middle, it backed our DBs off, and we had to start giving them space because they almost broke a couple runs. And then as soon as we lost that aggression, that's kind of opened up some stuff for them. So yeah, it was interesting to watch the back and forth chess match. And then later in the game, we saw, a lot of the stuff that they were setting up start to open up with the quarterback run that they didn't use early in the game. They used late in the game. Yeah. And we didn't get to see a lot of the stuff that we were trying to set up late in the game. So it would have been nice to see. I really wanted to see kind of the final result on that. I think we could have been able to see like full quarter coaching in terms of play calling. I know the game management stuff, I'm going to keep that separate from the actual play calling, but I think we just, there was a lot that we were about to see that we didn't get to that I wish we would have been able to. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, I predicted a loss in that game. So if you would have told me, like we talked about in the post game when you hopped on, if you would have told me that Dylan Raiola went down in the third quarter, we lost by 5, I would have probably told you were lying. So, I'm not saying that to paint a glass half full picture, but I'm just saying that there was an opportunity there to actually go out and win that game that I think a lot of people aren't giving us the credit for, that we were setting some stuff up.
Well, if I'd have told you we lost by 5, I would have been lying anyway because we lost by 4.
Whatever. Semantics. Semantics. I've been up since
You've been up since semantics for many years.
I've been up since 5:30 this morning. So long
it's
day.
Okay, we'll give you a pass on that.
And I already had to do one show. Dang it, my brain's not functioning.
Well, I know this, and I kind of wanted to mention it when I hopped on your post-game show, Justin. I just never had a chance to slide it in there, but that drive that we did go on at the beginning of the game, it was just picture perfect, right? Absolutely everything seemed to work. It was a long, time-consuming. It was very reminiscent of what Minnesota did to us on their first drive in the third quarter when we played up there. Time-consuming, constantly moving the chains, constantly mixing up pass and run, keeping the defense off balance. So the question I have is, where did that go? What did USC, did you see anything, Coach, in the stadium that USC adjusted after that drive that took that kind of offensive playing calling away from Dana Holgorsen as far as like your short passes and stuff like that?
In the stadium, I didn't quite notice it. I haven't had a chance to go back and fully, rewatch everything. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I just, busy week so far. That's on my agenda because I'm a weirdo that does like to go back and rewatch even the games that I attend in person. No, and I'll just say that I feel like that's kind of been a little bit of a trend this year. Is I feel like sometimes coming out, our scripted stuff to start the game has looked really well, and I'd say that's honestly because, like I've said 100 times, I think Dana Holgorsen is one of the best offensive coordinators in the country. I really do believe that. And sometimes you just have that where, your scripted stuff goes really well. And sometimes once, you get a couple of those drives in, sometimes your script starts to, or once you have to start going off that script, just doesn't quite work out as well. But also in the stadium, I didn't notice a ton, but I know Justin's probably seen the all 22 a whole bunch of times. So he might have a better, takeaway than if they took anything away from us and with their defensive adjustments.
Yeah, I just think like in the first drive, we did a really good job of confusing their eyes, especially, second and third level, and doing things that were just creating space for us. Like I said, with the motions, we did a lot of motion in there on that first drive, a lot of different formations, but bringing a lot of stuff out of the same formations as well. Good job mixing up run and pass, but I think over the course of time, it may have gotten a little bit too stale and predictable. And then I think they kind of adjusted their eyes. And at that point, that was where it was going to be interesting to see kind of coming out of the third quarter. I wanted to see what we were going to do because I know Lincoln Riley's offense was making those adjustments, and I saw that, and I was really just curious to see like what we were going to do to start mixing those things up again. And again, I think we were starting to invest kind of like body blows, there early on, but I don't think I see enough adjustments kind of, I think we need to not only rely on setting things up for later in the game, but I think we need to make quicker adjustments. And I think I saw a little bit more of that from USC on the offensive side of the ball. I know USC wasn't necessarily happy with a lot of stuff. Lincoln Riley was kind of, almost getting a little ahead of himself, and you saw some formation penalties and some stuff like that because I think he was getting a little too cute and a little too creative. But sometimes, as an offensive guy, like you got to do those things and take those risks in a big game like that because they're going to expect a lot of the stuff that you've already put on film. So you got to come out and do something different. And I just don't know if I've necessarily seen enough different. But again, I think in terms of the overall play calling, I was happier than what I've seen in some of the previous games still. But it still did leave a lot to be desired there. After that early drive, I do think that we just got to do a better job of mixing up creativity wise. And I'm not sure what it is right now. Seems like Holgorsen's staying a little safe with his play calling in a lot of cases. So we'll see. We'll see what he comes out and does this week, because I expect a whole lot of the same. I think again, you have to be safe this week as well, naturally with a freshman quarterback coming in there. So yeah, I just think that was the game where we were supposed to see some things different that maybe they hadn't put out there before. And I just don't think we saw a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know for me, it was like watching an extremely efficient offense in that first drive, and then watching it go into a shell until we got to the end of the first half. And then all of a sudden we're driving down the field again. So it was a little frustrating. It's hard to knock Dylan. I mean, he did what he could with what he had to work with. I mean, it just seemed like he was constantly trying to figure out how not to get killed back there. Because once again, offensive line. Here's a question I have for you guys. It seems, and I've heard this opinion in other places, it seems that Donnie Raiola's offensive line is really good guard to guard. Is that a safe assumption that they're pretty good from the guard to center to guard position, but it's the tackles where we're struggling? Is that just inexperience on Donnie's part, or is that we don't have the horses that can run the type of offensive line schema that he wants to run, or is it just maybe he needs some help with the offensive tackle side, especially in pass pro?
I feel like it's probably a combination of both. That would kind of be my takeaway. I feel like a lot of, I don't know, maybe this would just be me, but I do feel like that part of it with our tackles, I just feel like they're, and I mean this respectfully, of course, but I just feel like they're just not quite good enough to be at the level that we need. Obviously, we could say it'd be some coaching things as well, but we've had, some guys in there that we've seen, for some of these guys a few years now, and they just haven't been able to quite get there. And obviously, there were some guys that we wanted in the portal. Like I believe that guy from Washington, Justin would remember his name. I forgot it by now. But once you don't transfer to us, I kind of forget your name.
Well, one thing that I want to point out too is the footwork leaves a lot to be desired. I feel like a lot of the times what they're doing on the ends is dictating what our offensive tackles doing, and our offensive tackles aren't sliding into position and kind of dictating what the defensive ends are going to do. And so I feel like they're not as good at, they're when their leverage is attacked, they get on their heels a lot. And I feel like that's where we run into an issue, because then once you lose your leverage point, you're gone. You're at the mercy of that defensive end, especially if it's a good one. Then they can put whatever move on you. They can bull rush you, whatever. So I feel like a lot of times, like we're not quick enough to get our drop step and get our hands out and get our punch out. And they're getting into our chest a lot. And a lot of that's footwork. A lot of that is just, coaching and drilling. And so I haven't seen the development that, I saw little development over year 1, 2, and 3 under, Donovan Raiola, but I just haven't seen the jump that we necessarily need to see now that we have his guys in there with a lot of the the technique stuff. And I think that's kind of where we're at with it. I just think there's a lot of still technique stuff that leaves a lot to be desired, and it's causing a lot of problems.
For sure. I think you're right about that. I think because for all of us, at least for me going into the season, I think the one position group on the offense that I felt somewhat confident in, besides probably Emmett Johnson by himself in the running back room, was that offensive line. And it seems that's the one that has taken almost, for lack of a better term, a step back compared to last year.
Hey, if you want to get really just depressed about the offensive line situation, go back to different podcasts or radio shows or whatever and listen to them talk about the offensive line in like June, July, and August. Because the way that it was pitched, and again, I'm not faulting it, obviously. I mean, I thought the offensive line was going to be a lot better too.
Me too.
But just if you listen to the way everyone was talking about it compared to what we're seeing now, it's really depressing.
Yeah, because a lot of talent there. Again, it's just, and if they develop the way they should have,
yes,
and the way we thought they would have with his guys, we're always talking about when he gets his guys there, and then we can bring a couple big name recruits in, spend some money, which we did. Then we would be feeling a lot better about it, and that's what we felt coming into the season. So yeah, it is kind of disheartening to see, and it just really raises the question, like, is he the guy? Because I've been one of the people going to bat for him all this time, but this year, really, like I said, I expected that jump, and I haven't seen it. And I got to call a spade with that.
No, I agree. I think my question I would throw out there, and this is just, I don't even know if there's a right or wrong answer. It's just question that I have kind of pop in my mind is if we made a change at the offensive line, coach, if we made it and got a new O-line coach and he didn't bring new guys with him, right? Just working. Do we think it would make a difference, a huge difference going into next season is what, I guess it just depends on who that guy is, I guess. Like,
yeah, it'd have to be like a quick shift in attitude or something like that.
Right. I mean, do you get at least the point that I'm trying to, and I'm not articulating it great, but that's just,
100%, because one of the hardest things to develop in a short amount of time is an offensive lineman. Like,
right.
Yeah.
We say quarterbacks have a hard time coming in starting immediately. No, offensive linemen have a really hard time coming in and starting immediately because they have so many things that they have to develop, and it's only developed over time. But not only that, the offensive line is such a unit that like that camaraderie matters in developing with the guy next to you. So, bringing in a coach, bringing maybe in a different mindset could make, some improvements there. But coaching wise, it would have to be a really, really good home run hire to make that big of an adjustment in terms of their technique and stuff like that, in my opinion. So yeah. But I think it could, but I think the jump would be negligible,
Mm-hmm.
If only we could find the Mike Eckler of offensive line coaches, right?
Right. But again, Mike Eckler, a lot of what he brings, not only that, is just an attitude thing. Like, he knew what guys to put out there. So maybe like if a guy comes in, he's a better talent evaluator, and he's like able to put these guys in a better position that's a better fit for their skills. Those things can make your line jump big. The technique is what they are, and year over year, they're not going to make a huge necessary jump. Again, that happens over multiple years with an O-line coach. So, but there is maybe a talent identifier that can come in there like Holgorsen did, and started identifying some talent that maybe, Raiola didn't see, and maybe move some guys around to different positions. And I think this guy's a better fit here. And those type of things can make leaps for your offensive line.
Redwine 65 in the chat says you can't get too good of an O-line coach because then they leave. Name me one who's been too good for us in the last 15 years that has left. I don't recall any of them.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I
would just 100%. Like to have one.
Yep.
But yeah, it just was so. I just feel bad for Dylan because I know he loves his uncle, right? There's got to be just this weird tension that has to be between them going, dude, you just broke my leg because your guys can't figure out how to keep me upright, and I'm sure his uncle's going, yeah, but you don't know how to throw the ball within 2.5 seconds. You can help me out a little. So I'm sure there's that going back and forth.
Awkward Thanksgiving coming up.
Yes, awkward. And with Rule kind of stuck in the middle, that's got to be something else. I don't envy him at all in any kind of decision regarding the guys with those last names. Really
negative.
It's not a good thing. But you said on the post game too, Justin, when we were talking specifically about TJ Lateef and the fact that, he's not ready for that environment. He wasn't prepared for that environment. And I agreed with you at the time, and I still agree with you to a degree. But at the same time, I'm like, well, whose freaking fault is it that he's not actually ready and capable of walking into that situation, at least performing a bit?
Nobody's. He's a 4-star quarterback. He's not supposed to be. I think a lot of people forget that 4 stars aren't supposed, even 5 stars, aren't supposed to come in and be able to produce immediately. Look at how much Dylan Raiola struggled in year 1. And again, just in that game, that big of a game, to be able to have to come in the third quarter, or was it third quarter?
Yeah,
coming in the third quarter in a game with that much on the line, all those recruits there, like, it's one thing to come out there and see reps in practice, but it's a different thing when you have the lights on you, the adrenaline, and the fear of making a mistake and throwing everything on its head. And so for him to come out there and into that moment, like, there's just no way he would have been prepared for that. And another thing is too, had we beat some of these Big Ten teams maybe the way that we could have, and maybe put some of these games away, we would have had an opportunity to get some more in-game reps for him.
Sure.
But there's no other way. Like, you get better, like we talk about in boxing all the time, you get better at fighting by fighting. You can spar all you want, but as soon as you get in there and that adrenaline, is happening, you hit that adrenaline dump and you start having the fear of making mistakes. Like, you can be confident all day when it's your boys in practice and stuff like that, and against, lesser teams. But that defensive coordinator is going to get aggressive, and they're going to try to force you into making mistakes. And knowing that all is going through your head in that moment while you're trying to process the game and deal with everything else. It's not. I don't know what we expect these guys to be able to come out of high school and just be able to throw themselves into the fire and be able to do this. I don't know where we got this instant gratification from. It's a 4-star quarterback at the end of the day. It was like when people were saying Danny Kaelin should, when Dylan Raiola was struggling, Danny Kaelin should come in. No, Danny Kaelin should not come in. He's a 4-star quarterback. That's a 4-star versus a 5-star quarterback. Your 5-star quarterback struggling. You think your 4-star quarterback is going to come in and start making some throws? No, it's the way it works. It's the way football's always worked. Development needs to happen.
No, not only that, is it also just becomes not only are you just throwing him into the fire, but you're in this situation, he was thrown into the fire of 1 minute, you're just standing there, hearing some play calls, trying to soak it all in. The next of, now you're going out there and doing it.
Yeah.
It's not like it'd be, and again, I think, not throwing him into the fire, but I think it'd even be one thing. It's like, hey, you were preparing all week as the start, but like, wasn't even getting that. You know what I mean? If you have a whole offensive game plan built around one quarterback, you have, I know at Nebraska, Matt Rule actually does a pretty good job of getting his backups reps, but they're still different kinds of reps, right?
Yep.
They are. It just at the end of the day, he's going against the 2s and the 3s because this staff likes to do a lot of 1s against 1. So it's not even like Lateef is getting a ton of reps against the black shirts, right? Mm-hmm. So you're getting those practice reps. And then Rule even kind of alluded to it in the press conference of like they had to do, Lateef was still going off a lot of the things on the wristband because, again, you have a lot of this game plan designed for one quarterback. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I think, and when I say, again, I'm not saying this to dog on anybody because how can you be prepared for it? But nobody was prepared for that situation. That's a worst case scenario. So I think that, these next 3 games will be a better indicator. Again, I'm not even thinking it's completely fair, but I'm thinking it's at least going to be setting him up more for success because we're going to have a whole game plan design around him. He's going to be taking the 1 reps. He's going to be getting, when he's sitting in that quarterback room, he's getting all the questions now, not necessarily Dylan. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Hey, how are we attacking this? Well, a lot of times, just going to guess, I'm obviously not sitting in those meeting rooms, but I know it'd be the starter answering those questions, right? So now it's going to be on TJ to do a lot of these things. So I do think, because I saw a lot of, other people, just kind of dogging on the performance on Saturday. And I just don't think it's a fair assessment to even look at that and get a true indication of not only just what he can do a couple years down the road. I don't even think it's a fair indication of what TJ can do this coming Saturday. I just think being thrown in that, again, who knows what TJ is going to do? Judging based off that, I just don't think you could see that quarter and a half of football that he played against USC just being thrown in there and say, oh, this is what we're going to get the rest of the year. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I just don't think it, you know what I mean? I just don't think it's a fair assessment.
Yeah, other than the few, and I was just playing devil's advocate there. Because,
no, I hear it. No,
my brain,
that's legitimately. People are
thinking,
legitimately asking that question, like, why wasn't he ready? Well, what do you think? You know,
right.
I mean, I don't know. For me, I guess I go back to the fact that we got oodles of money in this program going into the pockets of coaches and players, and they're paid to make sure these guys are ready to go. And hey, TJ Lateef's making a little coin himself. You would think he'd put it on his own shoulders and take the responsibility and be in the film room like Dylan is, as much as Dylan is, to try to be as prepared for that situation. I know, but under fire, I know it's different. Dylan has a ton more experience. Under fire, I understand it's different. I'm just saying that for me, I wasn't exactly disappointed by his performance, but I was kind of surprised that they went so conservative with him.
Wasn't at all.
But that's okay. That's okay. We differ in opinion on that, and I get where you're coming from.
It was about mitigating risk and trying to maybe see if your defense can put you in a good position, because worst thing, you take a big risk and you put yourself in a bigger hole by throwing a pick six. You know, it's literally about taking the highest percentage plays that you can throw out there for him and the lowest risk plays. And those are simple plays. Those are the simplest plays. And that's why everybody's like, why was it so basic? Why was it so simple? You have to be. And we wanted to give them a chance to win the game at the end. We gave the ball in his hands. We gave him a chance to win. And it just didn't happen. But that's kind of the route you wanted to take. Mitigate risk as much as possible. Keep the game within striking distance. I hope maybe your defense can force a turnover in striking range and give yourself a short field or something like that. Yeah. So I understand why it was the way it was.
Makes sense to me. But how about we go to talk about the other guy that stood in the backfield with him, that just, once again, Emmett Johnson stood tall. My goodness. I mean, hey, the offensive line, I think, in my opinion, the offensive line blocked a bit better for him this week than they've been doing. I think they're getting better at getting him some holes to run through, but he's still making an awful lot happen on his own. What did he make? 12 dudes miss Saturday night? I mean, it was just crazy numbers.
He has the ability to make like a 15-yard run or a 13-yard run be the most impressive run I've ever seen in my life, and then he does it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll break off just a 13-yard run that I'm just like, that should have been a -2. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, he does the same thing a few plays later. Like, man, he blows my mind.
Yeah,
got a little Barry Sanders in him, maybe, without going backwards first.
Yeah,
Amir Abdullah.
Amir Abdullah, for sure. You wonder. I've noticed something with EJ's running, especially in the last few weeks. It seems like he's definitely more deliberate with his jump cut. He's not just dancing around waiting for a hole to open. He knows it's going to be there. I just need to make this dude miss, and then I'm going to go for it. And he just jumps through it. It's pretty to see, and it's very reminiscent of Amir. I remember how angry Amir ran, especially in his last 2 years when Ron Brown was basically coaching the running backs at that point. I wonder how much influence Ron Brown still has at practice and talking with players, and especially some of the former positions he used to coach. Because it's fun watching those receivers block, man. They're blocking like Ron used to teach them to block, which is knock them on their keister and make them not really feel too good about themselves at the end of the game. I remember, for example, we had Riley Washington, a wide receiver from the '94 national championship team, in the studio here. We interviewed him one night a couple years ago, and he said the Miami receivers after the Orange Bowl were crying. And he said it wasn't because they lost. It was because they were in pain. He said we punished those dudes all game long. And they just hated it when we'd run out on offense. They're like, oh.
Got to punish him.
Got to punish him. And I see that, especially number 6. I think Mr. Key is hurting some dudes out there, and it's good to see.
Yeah. He's an all-around really good wide receiver.
For sure. And so Emmett Johnson obviously gets our game ball from all 4 of us. We all picked Emmett for the game ball.
Sierra is a good honorable mention.
Yeah.
Sierra for sure. Oh my.
Yep.
holding that Lemon down to 18 yards on 2 catches, basically shutting him out of the game. And if not for a flea flicker, the dude wouldn't have even thrown for 100 yards.
Yep.
Maeva. I mean, so crazy, great passing performance by that offense or by those defensive backs. Just incredible. But Emmett, my goodness, so much fun to watch him. I'm just hoping that Dana will run him till his tongue's dragging the ground next week, because we're going up against the 124th worst rush defense in the country. So I could see a lot of zone read. I could see a lot of TJ probably running for 50, 60 yards, but we're not to preview yet. But anyway, that's our game ball for Mr. Emmett Johnson. So let's just go ahead and jump to UCLA. Nope. So I've watched a few of their games. I watched like when they beat Penn State. I watched most of that game. I watched the first win that they had, whatever game. I can't remember who that was. They beat the first week after they fired their coach, Foster. It was exciting. It was an interesting offense. They did a lot of misdirection. They did a lot of window dressing, if you will, like you were talking about, Justin, that Nebraska was doing. They set some things up in that first game that were successful. And Nico, of course, dude's got great feet. We're going to have to work hard to contain him. But I don't know. You guys, what do you think of this UCLA game? And what have you seen as if limited time that you've been able to watch them play? What have you seen that concerns you with Nebraska coming into town?
I'd say the biggest thing that I hope, just kind of like you alluded to, Ken, is feed Emmett Johnson the ball. He's the best player on this team. He's the best player on this offense. And I'm a big proponent of just rule number one is what a lot of offensive coaches say is rule number one: get your best player the ball. Doesn't matter how you do it. And I feel like that could be here's what's crazy to me. And I was much happier with how we used Emmett Johnson this last game. I think he had 29 carries or something. It's like, man, it almost feels like you give him any more. Now I'm not advocating, you know what I'm saying, but like he was just that good. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like any time we gave him the ball was like, oh man, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So I think if he could break the 30 carry mark, I'd be just fine. I think UCLA is going to struggle to defend the run. They've struggled with that a bit this year. It's just going to be one of those games. Again, first start for a new quarterback, true freshman quarterback getting his first start on the road. I will say I think it'll be a friendly environment for him. But even still, traveling and getting that first start being a night game, I think it'd be a great time to lean on what we know can be great for us, which is Emmett Johnson. I think above anything else, if we had to pick on one player, I'm not saying we don't have others, but if we had to pick one player to have a good game, who you going to bank on, I think we'd all pick Emmett Johnson at this point. So I think we very much need to heavily lean on him.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, offensively, we're just going to have to – you had Indiana come in and run for like over 250 yards. I can't remember exactly the number, but over 250 yards on them, just kind of ran it down their throat. Like that needs to be – because they have an okay pass defense. It's nothing to write home about, but I do think that we're going to need to, because against TJ Lateef, they might come out with aggressive. I talked about this on my show, but they might come out aggressively with their defensive backs and try to make him make a mistake. And so they might be up on our receivers, maybe trying to really get him to bait him into a throw, because they think if they can make him make a mistake early, they can get in his head early. So we're going to have to back those guys off with that inside run. Let Emmett do his thing. So that way those defenders are going to have to stay honest in that second and third level. That way, if he does break a run, they're going to have to get over. So they can't be pressing up the whole game. So we're going to have to back off their aggression with those short rhythm throws, rolling the pocket, and running the ball with Emmett early and often. As soon as we do that, then we can start to try to maybe open up a couple things more, because I do think in this game, it doesn't get any easier. Penn State is a very talented team. Iowa, of course, is a very talented team.
Right.
So we're going to have to try some things in this game to see if it works, because this is probably the worst team that we're going to face in terms of their overall talent. So we're going to have to try some things to see if it works, to see if we can bring that over into the next game, so on and so forth. But that'll give us the opportunity to do that if we can just kind of back that aggression off early and really kind of make everything simplified as much as possible, the most simple reads as possible, and try to just get him throwing to guys with grass in front of them. Not really trying to throw it into tight windows necessarily. If we do, it's a high percentage throw, like that back shoulder throw, because TJ Lateef's high school film, like all over it, he's moving the pocket, but he's also putting incredible touch, throwing across the field. He's got an arm. He's got an incredible arm. He's got zip on it and throws with great touch. But we're going to have to set those things up because it's not something he's just going to be able to come out there and just start throwing into coverage. And that's the answer. It's going to be similar to, with what we do with Raiola with the short passing game, but with the implementations of the moving pocket and the, some flood concepts. So that way, when we get the pocket rolling, he can start to kind of see as he's moving and look at those levels down the field and kind of see, okay, I have a receiver here, I have a receiver here, and start flowing with the play. And I think that's going to be big. So we're going to see a lot of rollouts, play action rollouts, zone reads. Yeah. And a lot of Emmett.
Yeah, and I do hope that with a full, like we said earlier, a full week of preparation, hopefully TJ can be, a bit more confident in some of those situations, like, not just be so eager to tuck it and run, which the way he tucks it and run is great. Don't get me wrong. But hopefully with the whole week of, preparation, confidence, knowing what you're going to do, getting better timing with your receiving core, that opens up a little bit more of the passing game as opposed to just, hey, bud, you're out there now. You know what I mean?
Or even maybe they have him like one read and we're out too, just so that way maybe you occupy another defender by having them have to put a spy out there or something like that. That's another way to take an extra defensive back or, run stopper off the field and kind of make them be occupied with the quarterback as well. So it'll be interesting to see their utilization of the QB run early and see what their approach is to that. Yeah.
I'm kind of with you guys. I think for certain we're going to see. I'm changing something on a banner here. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're good.
I'm trying to do 85 things at once. But
you know how that goes.
Yes. You know how to run a stream. You know how that's crazy.
I don't, and I don't do a great job all the time.
But one of the things I think, since we kind of been talking about it, we'll just talk about what we think the keys to victory are for Saturday. And I think you're right, Justin. I was thinking getting TJ Lateef in motion, taking advantage of his mobility, I think is the key on offense. You take advantage of his mobility and you just dose him 25 to 30 carries with Emmett, or 25 to 30 touches, maybe they're not all carries. But dose him with a lot of Emmett and TJ Lateef's mobility. And as far as defense is concerned, keep doing what they're doing. Shut down the pass game and contain Nico. If we can contain Nico in the pocket, don't let him get his legs going. It's going to be a tough ask with the beef we have up front, or the lack thereof. But something we've got to do. So those are my keys. How about you guys?
Oh, I'd say I think my biggest key to the victory here is just protect the football. And I know we've done a solid job at it. I know we saw a comment from Walter Donnelly. Talking about us being +3 in the turnover margin. That's obviously a really big. No, you're good. Obviously, that's been a good thing that Rule has put a huge focus on throughout the whole his whole tenure here. But I'd say the one thing that I would say was disappointing might not be the right word, but just when TJ put the ball on the ground a few times, that was something that's like, that's a bummer. And again, I understand tough spot going in there, completely cold, all that. But I will say, got to do a better job of that. And I think everyone would know that. I'd say just protecting the football and doing all that. And I think that's my biggest key is just protect the football. True freshman quarterback making his first start. It'd be, if we want to win this game, we can't give turnovers. Don't give any short fields. I'm not really worried about our pass defense at all. I know we're going against a good quarterback, but I just think USC's offensive talent's way superior to UCLA. So I feel like that we are in that we're in a good spot there. So I'd just say protect the football and don't give them a short field. And I think we'll be in a pretty good position to win this game.
Yeah. My key is the aggression that we saw defensively. Like, we need to see a lot of that, because our best chance of success here is to give TJ Lateef as many short fields as possible, as many good opportunities. So we have to win the field possession battle. Our defense is really going to have to make stops, and we're going to have to try to force some turnovers and put him in advantageous situations, because if you put him with a short field, then you give him a lot of opportunities to, really shine and kind of get some points on the board. So we got to come out with that same aggression we did, because it's going to take, again, USC backed us off with their success in the run game. Make UCLA do the same thing. Make them come out and back you off. Come out aggressive and make them back you off, so that way you give TJ Lateef an opportunity there, because we're not going to be able to have him probably driving down the field, left and right, drive after drive after drive. So as many short fields as we can give him, the better. So yeah, aggression defensively and mix things up. And you got to get Iamaliva just, uncomfortable back there. And, he's pretty good. He's getting better with his processing, and he has his moments, but last week he wasn't really good against the blitz. He has shown that he has the ability to in other games, but I think we can put our DBs on an island and really kind of wreak some havoc there. So just aggression defensively.
Sounds good. Bold predictions, boys. What's your bold prediction for this game?
I can start. I have got a scoop and score from – who do I want to give the scoop and score to? Van Poppel.
Oh.
Big boy. That's what we'll do. Defensive touchdown, scoop and score from Van Poppel. That's my bold prediction. And I had to go first this time, because Justin's taken mine twice. So I spent all this time thinking sometimes, and I'm like, okay, I got it. And then Justin will say, so I threw mine out first, so it can't happen to me.
You had it. You got it. My bold prediction is we finally see a Heinrich Haarberg rushing touchdown and an obvious Heinrich Haarberg running formation.
They want to do that so badly.
That's so blasted bold, dude.
Yeah,
that hasn't worked for crap so far this year.
I don't think he has a single one. So, yeah,
no,
we're bringing him out there. It's obvious he's going to run the ball, but he's going to get it in.
I love it.
My bold prediction is Emmett Johnson has 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. I know that doesn't sound all that bold, but I'm thinking the receiving touchdown might be. So, yeah, that's mine.
Love it.
And we'll jump to score predictions, which, because I have the right to do so, I've changed mine.
There you go.
I've got Nebraska 24-20, simply on the back of Emmett Johnson. He's probably got another 150-yard plus performance in him coming in this week. And I think that leads to those 3 touchdowns. He's going to score all 3 of them. Conanon's going to kick a fairly short field goal toward the end of the game to force Nico to go all the way down the field, score a touchdown to try to win, and the defense will stop him short. So there you go, 24-20 Huskers. Oops, I never put yours in there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I just went back to our text to see my score prediction since it's not there. I was like, hold on, let me go check our text real quick.
I know it's there because I put you in for Emmett Johnson, so I just forgot one.
No, I'll say I got
the one time I put it in the day early. Usually I'm like the last second right before the show. It's not.
Or I don't have to leave you a private message on the stream to get your score prediction, and then I forget to do it. So it's there. Now it's there.
I love it. I'll say, here's my prediction, and this may be really bold and crazy because Nebraska, a lot of times it's on the other end of this. Mm-hmm. I will say we're going to be 17-17. Defense is going to get a turnover. Second turnover of the day, according to my bold prediction earlier. Second turnover, TJ gets a couple first downs. Next thing you know, we're kicking a last-second field goal to win the game as time expires. Nebraska is usually on the wrong end of those, and I'm going to say we do it this weekend. Last-second field goal as time expires to win 20-17 is that might be bolder than my bolder prediction.
Might be. And Scott has it 24-17 Huskers. I'll be curious to ask him how he thinks that comes about. And then you, Justin, have 27-10 Huskers. Yep. I should have put Huskers on that.
Yeah, so that's my bold prediction. But I'm going to come out there and just say our defense kind of feeds off of some of the things they figured out. I just don't think UCLA is near as good. And I think we saw a really, really good offense that gave our defense a lot of confidence. And I think we're going to be able to stay more aggressive throughout the game. And I think that's really going to keep UCLA, off the board. And like I said, they're going to have to control, UCLA's offense for us to win that game. And I think they might give a couple turnovers, give TJ a short field. We might come out and get some, shorter touchdowns. And I think kind of pull away from this one hopefully late. This could be wishful thinking because I do want to see them be able to open the offense up a little bit with TJ. So if we get a cushion, it'll be easier to do that.
Oh, for sure. The other Dave said he's Highest West put out their cask collection. I'm tasting bourbon aged in Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and Petite Syrah barrels on the heels of a stressful business day.
Those words are way too fancy for my vocabulary.
Sounds like it. There's another. I don't know if you've tried, Mr. Dave, if you've tried Amador, but that was one of my favorite bourbons. Same thing. It's aged in port barrels and some Cabernet or whatever, but it's aged in wine barrels. And it's
have you tried Fireball?
Fantastic. Oh, God, evil.
That's more my speed.
Pure evil is what. Have you seen that new apple they're coming out with? Oh my. Apple something. It looks kind of yummy. Darn it. Of course.
Fireball. It's like $14.99 a bottle at CVS right now.
Oh, I know it is. It's stupid cheap and stupid painful the next day.
Oh,
the other Dave says, I will get Amador. Thank you. Yes, Hy-Vee. If you've got a Hy-Vee near you, Dave, go there. That's where I usually got it. And it's not super expensive. $30 usually will get you a nice, what is that, a fifth, I think. So, yep. Yummy. Very yummy stuff. Red Wine says, NU contains Nico enough to grind out a win. So, cool. We'd love to hear your score prediction, Red Wine, if you have one. But that's what we've got for you tonight on the two games, last game and this game upcoming. Did you have something else you wanted to add into the show here at the end, Justin?
No, I just kind of was touching on a couple of the recruiting things. I'll just kind of throw them out there. Of course, we saw Tay Ellis committed last night.
Yep.
Excellent receiver. I kind of broke down some of his film later in my show. He was going to come on, but he got out of practice at like 6 o'clock. And so it was going to be a matter of if he could have got home in time. So, but we're going to probably try to get him on our show Friday. So, he'll be coming on. I broke down some of his film, really good feet, really good releases. He's just a guy who's a pretty polished route runner, all things considered, for a guy straight out of high school. So I'll have more on him. And then Amir Brown should be committing, here probably within hopefully the next week or so. He's very much reminds me of kind of like an Emmett Johnson type of guy, just with his ability to kind of jump cut, create space in his vision, being able to see small holes and be able to just no wasted movement with his feet and stuff like that. So again, I broke down a little bit of his film, but we'll have some full film reviews coming in the coming days too. But yeah, Tay Ellis committed yesterday, 4-star out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then you got Amir Brown out of North Carolina, I believe. So a lot to be excited about. And then Ahmad Hudson, the number one tight end in the recruiting class, potentially hinting at it, but I know for sure like Amir Brown is like dang near like locked in. So I don't know about Ahmad. I know Ahmad's hinting at it, but I know Amir is, on the doorstep. But Ahmad, it's going to be a battle.
Amir's like those two guys that just committed, they were 2027 class, right?
Yes.
Okay. And Amir is kind of like I said, he's an Emmett Johnson type. I've seen some of his film myself. He looks a little thicker, he's bigger. Am I crazy?
5'10", 200, I believe, somewhere around there. Yep. So, but just really fluid and fast. You look for a lot more of burst when you're watching high school running backs, because that seems to be more important immediately at the next level than top end speed, because you got to find a way to use your top end speed. And he's got a lot of short area quickness, short area burst. So I'm super, super excited about him.
Cool. Red Wine says 23-20 NU. The other Dave says 31-17. Good guys. TJ creates a quarterback controversy. Well, I'm telling you what, if we win 2 of these next 3 games going into next season,
that has been something that I'm not going to feed into, but I will say, what if the crazy scenario of just TJ Lateef just comes out and balls out count a bowl game. We'll say 4 games. I don't know. I know that Dylan Raiola is
my thing is we got to remember too, one of the reasons Holgorsen took the job is because of Dylan's staying.
Yes, very much so.
So it's going to take a lot of convincing to get Holgorsen to switch. Yeah.
Yes. So, I don't know.
Yeah. But
it would be kind of cool though.
That means he performed very well.
Yes.
So
it's a good problem to have.
If we do.
It's an embarrassment of riches in the quarterback room, with Dayton coming in next year too. So there's going to be a lot of talent in that room, and keeping it in that room would be important for certain. So, all right, where do we find you guys out there on the interwebs before we wrap this bad boy up?
You can find me at _H-Town Husker on X, and you can find me at Nebraska Football at the Voice of College Football. So if y'all want to check out stuff over there, like I said, we had our live stream today. The back 30 minutes was the film, a little bit of breakdown of the film today. So go subscribe over there and stay up to date.
All right, I will say, you guys don't even know this. I'll drop it on you. Now that my high school football season's wrapped up, I'm just saying screw it. The BA Coaches Show's coming back completely. So there you go. I'll just drop that on you guys. So if you go to any social media platform here pretty soon, go at the BA Coaches Show. You'll see me on there. Hopefully I get some stuff posted this week, and we'll get back ready to rock and roll, because I found myself just wanting to talk more Husker football than I know what to do with. So let's do it.
Yes, sir. At the BA Coaches Show, it's out there. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Walter B. Donnelly asks, when will the kickoff time for the PSU game be announced? Probably shortly after the UCLA game is over, depending on the result. I think it'll be a big part of it. My guess is
it's on another one of those 6-day holds, so we'll probably get it Sunday morning, would be my guess.
Yep.
I don't think we'll get it before that. Could be dead wrong, but my guess is it's another 6-day hold, and we'll get it Sunday morning.
For certain. Anyway, you can follow this podcast on Facebook, X, and YouTube at GenRedPod, or you can subscribe to the audio version of the show at Generation Red on Apple, Google, or Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Our website is genredpod.com. Our email is genredpod@gmail.com. That QR code at the top of the page will take you directly to our merchandise site, where you can get Gen Red Pod shirts, hats, all that fun stuff. Or you can go to genredpod.com and just click on the link on the top of the page. So that's it for us tonight. We appreciate all of you listening to this podcast after it comes out on Wednesday. We appreciate all of you who have watched this show live tonight. The other Dave, Moonbot, Redwine, all you guys, and participating in the live chat. We truly appreciate it. It's what makes this show fun for me to do, is to just be involved with our audience. And you know what? Talking to you guys is pretty cool too. So I appreciate Justin. I appreciate you, Coach. Scott, we really pray and hope that your wife gets better soon. We missed you tonight. But until next time, for the three of us, we're all Generation Red, and we're here to chronicle Nebraska's inevitable return to college football greatness, one podcast at a time, because there's no place like Nebraska. Iowa's corn sucks.
In rule, we trust.
Just fix the timeout shit, Coach, please.
Oh, I'm not going to go back. We'll talk about this at a later date and time. Thank you for not bringing that up here. I would have ranted too much.
I know. You wouldn't be the only one. There's a lot of people that have ranted about it. So I think there's enough of the rants about the timeouts out there. We can leave it be.
Yep.
All right, boys. See y'all next week. Go Big Red.